Visibility is the word that you want to master in your life. Visibility is the word you want to master. Let me tell you about myself, okay? When I was working in 2008, yeah, uh, in a reputed MNC, a global Fortune 500 company, I was among the top metrics, above average. Every time my boss comes in the 4 or 5 years of time frame, he'll say, Rakesh, you're doing a wonderful job. Everybody gets happy about that statement, right? And the next statement he speaks is, you know what? You don't have visibility. Now, this is where it hurts the most. Okay. And then we ask people, what is that? I'm coming, I'm working hard. People are seeing, my boss is seeing my work. What is missing? Correct? So that is where you need to ask the question. That is where you need to ask the question. Okay, if visibility is missing, then what is exactly that people are talking about? Your knowing is great. You doing, performing is great. Not showing what you know and what you do is what is hurting you right now, correct? That means if you're not able to showcase what you can do, people will not understand your influence. And it also means that people will continue to probably under appreciate you or overlook you. And that you need to change. And the only way to change it is to increase your visibility in the marketplace. Okay. Now, you know what happens if you don't have a visibility. First, your career growth is limited. You will become stagnant. And the biggest challenge that will happen because of the visibility is you become the victim of office politics. Okay. You become the victim of office politics because of the lack of visibility. I give this to all the people. It's not the noise of non-performer. It is the silence of the performers that is an issue in the market. That means performers feel that my boss knows it. How many of you are assuming that? My boss knows what I'm doing. Yeah. Say if your boss knows, then why your boss is not giving you the growth is a question. Why you're not considered for the promotion? Why you're not probably given the highest increment in that case? Because regardless of what he knows or what he doesn't know, right, you need to make them understand your value. Creating the perceived value for them is called the visibility. And let me give you the definition. Strategically amplifying your voice and your achievements. Write it down if you don't understand this. Strategically amplifying your voice and your achievement. So if you do not know how to strategically amplifying your voice and achievement, then you're not going to create the visibility. So how will you do that? A simple question. How will you do that? Increase your visibility. First is the value addition. First is the value addition. Are you adding the value? Now, how many of you know your job role, KPIs, KRAs, and everything? Everybody knows that? Very simple to understand, identify. It's mentioned in your appraisal system every year that this is what you need to achieve, correct? How many of you do not know what impact does it create? Because if you do not know what impact does it create, then you're not strategically amplifying the value addition. You're just working. Just working people get the average increment. They remain financially broke. That many of you are actually giving me the reason I have a financial issue. After 15, 20 years of your career, if you are financially broke and still you are overthinking about not growing yourself, it means you are ready to be broke for the next 10 to 15 years. Then you shouldn't complain about your financial situation because you don't want to change it. Make sense? Those who feel I'm financially running out, it's not you're financially running out. You haven't understood how to grow financially. Your inaction is costing you more than your actions right now. And if you understand the price of investment price and the price of regret, your regret will always be higher. How many of you have regrets in your career? I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done this. Yeah, in your career. From some point of time, from your early career, I would have done the MBA. I would have gone into IIM and so on and so forth. So we start from that regret. We have the regret even today. Oh, I wish I would have taken that opportunity on site, or I would have changed my company on time. Oh, I would have actually trusted this person. The cost of regret is always higher. And if you don't change, then you are missing the point. So create a value add. Understand what value impact that you're making. Second, build strategic communication. You will never ever be able to create a visibility with your normal communication. Do you all agree with that? Because you're already doing the normal communication. Why is it not building the visibility? Correct? So you need to ask yourself a question. My normal communication is not creating the visibility. Do I need to change the communication? And the answer to that is yes. You need to change that communication. How many of you ELC member know executive communication? Do you know how to use the power equation? Yeah. They know how to talk with the CXO. Do you know how to talk with the CXO? Is a question in their language. And if you do not know, you're just wondering why your career is not growing. Because when the CXO come and ask you casually, hey, how is it going? Yes, sir, everything is fine. What did you do? You close the conversation. This is called the insight. You close the conversation. And in order to open the conversation, you should have something to say, which is valuable to your CXO. That means you need to have a command over your strategic communication. Last, you need to have a meaningful connections. So by understanding the relatability, which is your power dynamics, your office politics aspect of it, you create the meaningful connections within and outside the organization. Okay. Let me give you the bonus. Your external visibility can empower your internal visibility. Your external visibility will empower your internal visibility. Those who are not respected, recognized internally within the organization, if you start building your visibility outside, that is on the LinkedIn, on the professional network platform, it will be amplified. I have been consistent in my external visibility for more than 1700 days. So it helps me to get the internal and external visibility. That requires the nuances of it. Okay. Now, which are the skills which are required? The first is you need to add value as a thought leader. In your industry, domain, and function, you are an expert. You have a skill, you have an experience, you have an expertise. What is the use of all this? Zero for the market. Unless you showcase them. Unless you showcase them. So are you becoming a thought leader? Thought leadership is to share your perspective in the world, which is a unique insight about your industry, domain, and function. So for example, Hemant is a supply chain guy based in the new location. He can share what are the new location challenges in establishing the supply chain. So that will give Hemant the visibility in the market. He can be a guy in the greenfield. He can create an entire procurement and supply chain function. That's what Hemant's thought leadership. Rajesh can actually come up and say that, okay, how do I become the national manager in a certain company? And what are the challenges at a national level? Why? Because he now recognizing the national level. Right? Ajay actually say that I'm an infrastructure guy. I know how to set up that plan. So he'll say what are the challenges which is coming. That is his thought leadership. Saurav can come and say, this is how you need to do the PR in the marketplace to get the visibility. How to use the different sources of PR. That is Saurav's visibility. Make sense? So you need to choose your area, share the insight by adding the value to the people. That's what your thought leadership is all about. Second is the most important one is called the personal branding. You cannot go casually in any meeting and expect somebody to respect your or probably consider you as an influence. I cannot go casually in the market also and just to say that, okay, I've seen you are an influencer on the YouTube and so on and so forth. That's your reputation. But if you build your reputation on the years of work, you build your brand on the years of work. If you don't even start, forget about the reputation. It requires efforts. It requires journey. For the last 4 years, I've been consistent in that journey. That's why I have a reputation. Okay. Then comes the third and the most critical one, executive communication. You don't talk a normal communication. Executive communication with the power equation. I told you the communication has a different elements of it. Different complexity and intensity are there at every stage of the communication. If you are talking to your team member, then there is a different communication. If you're talking to your peer group, if you're talking to your stakeholders, if you're talking to your management, if you're talking to your client, if you're talking to some outside competitor, every communication requires a thoughtful process. And that cannot be a casual conversation. Mila, हाँ कैसे हो? कैसे चल रहा है? हो गया. That's not what we are talking about as a communication if you want to build a visibility and influence. Make sense? So when you are looking for the visibility, let me give you the hint. Everyone start posting on the LinkedIn without fail, at least 2 to 3 times a week. That will kickstart your visibility journey. Okay. And what do you need to post? Your respective area. As I mentioned, your respective thought leadership area. Okay. So it could be your industry expertise. It could be your functional expertise. It could be your domain expertise, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Okay. And give insight to the people. Don't just copy paste the content from the chat GPT and just post it and you feel like, wow, I've added a lot of value. If you're not able to articulate your own content, you have not added a single value. I am able to articulate my content, what I have posted today itself. Make sense? So if you cannot articulate your own content, you've not done a great job. And articulation is a skill which you need to learn with the practice. With whom? With the people who are thinking alike, with the people who are in the same journey. That's where accountability plays a very, very vital role. Presentation plays a vital role in articulating the things. If your career is not moving forward, this is one aspect that you want to change that. Okay.